Welcome back everybody to Moderate Mods, and today we're going to be dealing with the 1964 Austin FX4 taxi, an icon of British roads for around 40 years, and featured in numerous amounts of films and television. So let's see if this extremely reliable and extremely useful workhorse can not only be decently quick in its stock form, but made any better to improve upon what it can do in stock form as well. So well and truly in D class, all the way down at level 100. So not the fastest of vehicles ever, but it does have a reasonable amount of power and torque, 68 horsepower and 116 pounds-feet of torque from its 2.2 litre diesel inline 4. And obviously it does weigh a fair bit being a taxi at 3,527 pounds. It's got a reasonable weight distribution at 55 front, 45 rear. And the stats could be a whole lot worse given how much weight it's got and how much power it doesn't have. So you'll certainly find slower cars out there than this, and certainly find worse handling cars than this as well. So hopefully it'll do reasonably well, but obviously it's all about what we can do upgrade wise. This still should be pretty fun to drive. We're gonna change ourselves into manual because it's a diesel, it's not got much power, it's going to need to be worked as much as possible. Probably won't have to do this for when we upgrade the vehicle, but for now we will be in manual. So icon of British motoring, like I said. Just the way it looks alone is iconic enough, although it did slightly change here and there over the years. The modern versions certainly don't look quite as iconic as this, although obviously they are faster and more economical than this would ever have been. Finally reached 60. Obviously we weren't all that quick getting up to there because we obviously had a hill to deal with, but like I said, you certainly can find far slower cars on this game. And no doubt we've had far slower cars in this series so far. It's hardly a speedy vehicle, but then again it was never meant to be. London roads generally are 40 or below, so you don't really need to be going any quicker than that, although it obviously can, as you can see. Oh dear. Well, that's pretty much my fault there on the handling front. Overestimated this car's handling capabilities. Heavy diesel engine does obviously provide a fair bit of understeer, and the steering on this is meant for getting around sharp bends and getting around corners or in spaces with relative ease. It's not meant for going around corners particularly quickly. It's just meant for getting around in tight spaces. So 1 minute 51.178 there. I think that's probably our slowest time on this series so far, maybe. But I'm having fun driving it. Just because it really does require your attention to drive it quickly. As quickly as it can go. Come on. I do have a couple of ideas for this in terms of upgrades, so I'm going into this completely blind. There we go, much better in that corner this time. See why most cabbies or taxi drivers, however you want to call them, opted for the diesel version of this, purely because it has the torque that the petrol version would never have had. dealing with a lot of weight and from passengers and luggage, you want all the torque you can get, especially if you want to get up any inclines. Obviously not many of them in London, but still need torque to deal with extra weight. But yeah, massive improvement there at 1 minute 34.845 seconds. Let's see if we can improve any further on this final lap. What makes me laugh is this old age diesel is either higher revving or as high revving as some classic muscle cars from the same decade, which is quite funny when you think about it. Given diesel engines are typically not the highest revving of engines. It's getting hit in the wall. We're definitely going to have to upgrade the handling to some degree on this. Don't think we'll be able to lower it though, because that would really defeat the object of a taxi. It's supposed to be comfortable and practical. Obviously the more you lower suspension, the less weight you can actually take in a vehicle, which is why it always makes me laugh when you see around the UK, you see vans that have been lowered, which just makes them pretty useless, to be honest, if you're going to do that. We're not going to change up, there's no point given that we're coming up to the finish line here. No improvement that time round, so 1 minute 34.845 seconds is our final lap time. Our final quickest lap time, should I say. So yeah, not a massively impressive time by any means, but it does mean that we have plenty of room to improve. So let's get to the garage and see what upgrades we can give it. So this is the car in all its glory, and yeah, this revolutionised taxis in general in terms of design. As you can see, it's got so much room in the interior, either for people sitting in the back or for people also sitting on those fold down seats that are attached to the bulkhead between the driver and the passengers. Doesn't have the most amount of room in terms of luggage space, as you can see, which is why a lot of the time you'd see the boot lid open like this, which, you know, was a common sight in London back in the days. But yeah, revolutionary design in terms of interior capacity. So let's just take a look at the acceleration time and top speed. So yeah, it can only do 0 to 60 in 32 seconds. Doesn't manage to get to 100, but it can do 91 at a push. So yeah, hardly the slowest kind of vehicles, and yeah, certainly able to go far faster than it would ever need to. So yeah, upgrades, well, engine wise we're not going to be able to really give any of these because these are far too powerful for this kind of car. But being a diesel engine, I don't see why we can't have a turbo diesel instead. So yeah, we'll whack that on, giving us an extra 14 horsepower already. We'll make it a sport turbo, so we'll give it another 9, and we'll do a lot of the street stuff, but we'll actually up the engine block to a 2.4. Let's give it that a little bit of extra torque. We'll do the street valves, the street cams. I don't think we really need to do exhaust, given it's a diesel engine taxi. Carburetor. Well, actually, I'd like an even number, you see, so let's just see what we can do in terms of upgrades, just to make it a more even number. Hello, anything out there that's going to give us an even number? I do like an even number after all. Ah, screw it. We'll give it the sporty exhaust. I know I said we didn't care for something like that, but actually, let's give it sport, oil and cooling, because I see that as a bit more of a requirement, given it's now got a turbo on it. And we'll give it a improved intercooler as well, to make sure it can deal with the extra power in the turbocharger. We'll knock up a couple of pounds with the street flywheel. We'll give it street brakes. Not going to lower it, because like I said, it needs to be comfortable and still practical. But we'll upgrade the anti-roll bars. We'll knock a little bit of weight out. Give it a street clutch. Are these going to improve it at all? Nope. Gearbox is going to have to stay standard. And we'll knock even more weight out by giving it a race driving line. Race driving line and obviously the race anti-roll bars might seem a bit of a massive overhaul, but they're generally not, to be honest. and we'll give it wide tyres, front and rear, to help solve any of the handling issues that it had. And we'll give it vintage race tyre compound. Do we really need that? If it would just go for street compound, to be honest. I know we generally don't do this, but given the handling and braking has barely improved and it's now got way more power than it had originally, we're gonna have to. So yeah, we'll give it the extra tyres. And yeah, bodywork wise, we can only remove the bumpers. So there we go. Not even close to being the most expensive car that we've had in terms of upgrades at 20,750 credits, but we do go up more than 4 times the amount of PI, and as you can see in terms of horsepower, we've got nearly twice the horsepower that we had originally. We're a little bit heavier than we were originally, but we've got more power now, and yeah, better handling as well to compensate for that little bit of extra power. Weight even, we obviously have the extra weight because we've got a new intercooler, a new sport oil cooler. We've got wider tyres which all add weight, but as you can see, it's made a big difference. Now do 0 to 60 16.609 seconds, nearly twice as fast to 60. We now can actually achieve 100 mile an hour at 33.233 seconds, and we now have a top speed of 114 miles an hour. Obviously not necessary for going around London, but you know, if you want to get up to motorway speed quickly and anything like that, or merge, then you do need power and speed. So yeah, let's get back to the track and see what this taxi can now do. So we're still in D class, but we're way higher up in that class itself, and as you can see by the stats, it's radically changed. Handling, braking, way better, acceleration better, speed obviously better, and the launch is also slightly improved as well. And yeah, all because we now have 130 horsepower instead of 68, 202 pounds-feet of torque instead of, I think it was 116 originally. We are a little bit heavier than we were before by about 4 pounds, but we've got so much more power and torque that that really does not matter. And yeah, that's proven by showing you the acceleration times before. So yeah, we should easily be able to improve upon the original car's 1 minute 34.845 time. So yeah, let's see. Not in manual anymore, purely because we don't need it. Yeah, definitely faster off the line. Definitely got the torque to be able to manage the hill. Obviously, this is still far from the fastest of cars that we've had on this series. You know, it's still a £3,500 car with only 130 horsepower. Quite frankly, considering what it is and you know the kind of upgrades we can actually give it, I'd say this is a reasonable improvement, and all for less than 21,000 credits as well. Can't say fairer than that, to be honest. Definitely handles better. Obviously the new tyres in terms of tread and width are helping there. Obviously I don't normally give these vehicles new tread because I like to keep it as stock as possible, but handling was not budging with the anti-roll bars, the brakes, and the attempts at reduction in weight. So yeah, really had to give it those extra tyres just to guarantee that it'll be able to handle the power. I think it wouldn't have been able to manage it on its own. As you can see, we're already getting up towards the top speed of the original vehicle, a few mile an hour off, and we've already managed to beat the best time as well, which doesn't often happen with our first lap, that 1 minute 23.967, which yeah, just shows how much of an improvement this is over the stock version, especially with the turning. Obviously the suspension is still the same, so it has the body roll still. Crucially, it still keeps its practicality and comfort as well, so that's the whole reason for keeping the suspension the same. Don't want to ruin the whole purpose of the taxi itself. One reason I never did that with the Ford Transit either, so to keep it usable as a van. Yeah, we've achieved 90. And a time of 1 minute 14.741 on our second lap there. So yeah, we've improved by more than 20 seconds over the original vehicle, which is a huge amount. But again, for not many credits. 20,750 credits is not a lot when it comes to upgrades on this game. Spend a lot more than that just on swapping an engine out, never mind doing anything else. What I love about this, even at low revs, it's still got plenty of torque to be able to accelerate at a reasonable rate. Still got some understeer, because it's got extra weight up front now with that turbocharger, the new intercooler and the new oil cooler, but it's worth it. And a final improvement there at 1 minute 14.291 seconds, meaning we well and truly are faster than the original car. And yeah, what an improvement as well in terms of handling, acceleration, speed, and just general usability and enjoyability as well on modern day roads. Because yeah, the standard car in this would struggle to use motorways and merge at a safe rate. So yeah, massive improvement on that front. And yeah, it's just generally more fun to drive. Obviously I do really rather enjoy driving the standard car for all its quirks and the fact that we actually have this vehicle on the game to start with. But yeah, obviously you can improve this to some degree and yeah, make it more fun as well, as we have done here. And yeah, the turbocharger alone makes this more fun with all the weird sounds it's making, and the fact it's got so much grunt low end down on the rev counter as well. So yeah, really impressed by how much this has improved, and yeah, it just goes to show that pretty much anything on this game can be improved to a big degree for not much in the way of credits. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.